Can I ask you? I've just spoke to Oliver Dowden, and I asked him after Germany said they're going to follow suit from what Austria have done, and Italy as well, vaccine passport to go to work there, mandatory vaccines. There was initially a lockdown for the unvaccinated in Austria. Germany is saying they're going to do vaccinations as mandatory from February. This is basically the last act of Angela Merkel as Chancellor. Very likely to get through their parliament. Apparently has support in Germany extraordinarily. But I asked him, Oliver Dowden, if the government, he speaks as Tory party chairman, can rule out that ever happening here. And I'm going to be honest, he didn't rule it out. He said he was against it in principle. He said it was not something they want to do or plan to do and hopefully won't have to do. But surely this is something that any liberal democratic government should be able to rule out categorically, both principally and in practice.
I agree. I'm afraid that, firstly, it's after the Second World War, there were a whole lot of things called Nuremberg guidelines laid down, which essentially say you cannot force somebody to have a medical treatment. That's really the rule. And you certainly can't force them to have medical treatment for somebody else's benefit. Otherwise, we'd have compulsory blood transfusions and Lord knows what else, and I speak as somebody who gives blood. But the simple truth is this would be an extraordinary deviation from the tradition of British history. We have never allowed the state to force us to do this sort of thing. It will cause the most spectacular rebellion in Parliament, I'm quite sure.
Are you sure? Because I don't think we've seen enough of a rebellion. One of the things one of my guests pointed out earlier was you've got people on the liberal left who apparently they think they're the nice people, who think that the thought of having to prove who you are to go and vote in a general election is absolutely a moral outrage, but think it's perfectly acceptable for you to prove who you are and show your private medical records to someone to go to the cinema or to walk into a cafe or get on a train. Now, I find that absolutely extraordinary that we've had almost no pushback on this from anyone on the left at all.
Yeah, I know. The Labour Party. When I said a spectacular rebellion, I meant amongst the Tories, frankly, not amongst the opposition. The simple truth is that Labour have been soft on this. They're completely hopeless, frankly, on personal liberties when it comes to healthcare. They get confused about it. But the simple truth is that a lot of people, me included, have gone along with a whole lot of measures we've been uncomfortable with because of the uncertainties in this disease and the fact that errors mean people die. But this is just plumb wrong. It's wrong at every level. It's medically wrong. It's ethically wrong from a doctor's point of view. It's a breach of the contract between government and individuals. And I'm afraid it would just cause, I think, an irrecoverable breach in the Tory party if they started to insist on that. Vaccine certificates was a sort of half test of it. I'm adamantly, as you know, I'm adamantly against vaccine certificates. I think you shouldn't have to prove your standing to have normal life. But actual enforced vaccines, I think, is way beyond a step too far. It's